Hi again, welcome back. I am here, it's Meridy, and I am here with the third layout for our International Scrapbook Day 2024 series. And in this series, we are killing kits, trying to use up like the last little bits and pieces of kits when there isn't much left. How I stretch those, some different techniques that I use to stretch those to make a layout. And let's see, some things that I didn't mention in the first couple of videos, because when I first started filming these videos, I was just doing videos to kill a kit, and I wasn't knowing exactly that they were going to be all released on International Scrapbook Day this year. So in the last two videos, I did not mention because Paula and I had not discussed, but all of the kits that I use in these videos, when I'm filming these videos, they are still available in the store. And we are going to be offering them at a discount. So all of the kits that I use in this whole series today, every few hours we're releasing another video, and all these kits will be discounted in the store. So you'll see those discounts already applied to the kits when you go in the store to shop. And they will be discounted for this whole first 10 days of May 2024. Because that will encompass International Scrapbook Day weekend and still give you guys a little bit more time. So they will be on sale up until May 10th. So if you want any of these, you can still get them, which is specifically why I chose to work from these kits, because I knew that these were still available. Back to what I am doing right now. This kit that I'm using right now is the Harvest Plaid page kit. And the original page kit came with these alphabets and some ephemera and things that are in here. And then the Essentials kit came with these two items and some other embellishments. Now, some of these things I have obviously used in the page that I made that matches this layout, the page for the page kit. And there's already a process video for that when we first released this kit. So I will link all of these links in the description of this video so you can find everything if you're curious to see what the first layout looks like. But here we are with what's left. So I have picked one picture, a 4x6 picture at the pumpkin patch. And then we have this stencil. I'm gonna go ahead and open these things right now so that they aren't loud and crinkly when we are making the page. And then we have this set of Simple Stories foam stickers that are amazing. And right here, it says pumpkin patch. I'm thinking that is probably going to be my title or main part of my title, even though I have nothing else decided on this layout. Of course, we have the scraps and the few pieces of ephemera that were left over from what I didn't use on the layout. We have a couple of these patches that I didn't use. And then seriously guys, it is like bare bones scraps that are left here. This is why it's hard to, you know, that's why I'm making this whole series, because you still got a lot of embellishments and things left, but not too much paper. And really, I'm gonna throw some of these things away. Like, they're pointless. I'm not sure why I held on to some of these little scraps. But yeah, we've got a few of the hexagons left. And this was fussy cut from the back of some of the papers. More hexagons. These were parts of the hexagons that got cut off. I'm gonna go ahead and throw them away too. And then we've got this alphabet set that has a lot of life left in it, but I probably won't use much of that alphabet set because, like I said, I've got these titles already and I really love these titles. So I'm gonna set this alphabet set off to the side. Does it have numbers? 20, I can't even do 2023 because I've already used some of the numbers on my last layout. So we'll just set that off to the side, and I'm gonna try to grab all of these little portions and get them off of my work surface so we aren't worried about those. Okay, so we've got all these little things and there's not much paper. Most of it's either fussy cut into hexagons or just tiny little strips of paper. So what I decided that I wanted to do is I wanted to use this stencil to create kind of like a pattern background paper. But I want to do it with watercolor paints. So I've just got a set of watercolor paints. These I probably got from Michael's. I think they're like $5 or something like that. You can get these at lots of places. They are not very expensive. I think even Amazon sells them. And I've got a water brush here. Then my paper. So I know Vicki Boutin sells mixed media like paper pads, and I want to say that they might be watercolor paper. I'm not really sure because I do not have one. This is a 12 by 12 piece of watercolor paper that I got a pad on Amazon, and when I got the pad it was 12 by 18, so it's 18 inches long and 12 inches tall, and I cut off the 6 inches from the end, so I've just got a 12 by 12 piece of watercolor paper. But I use this, I'm going to use it to mix colors, to experiment, so I'm not experimenting on my good paper. So I really like the fact that it is 12 by 18, because I really like the fact that I have this extra little piece here to experiment with. I'm trying to get a little bit organized here with this video. And since we do know that this is a picture at the pumpkin patch, I am going to cut off the title that I already know that I want to use. It says pumpkin patch, and I kind of like that little pumpkin right there too, so why not? We'll use the pumpkin, maybe, possibly too. And I'm gonna cut these apart because I probably won't lay them out like in this configuration. Okay. I might use other pieces of this, but I might not. Like I might use the leaves or even the sunflowers. No, probably not the sunflowers. Maybe I'll use the leaves, maybe I won't. We'll set those off to the side. And then I do want to put some patterned paper on here to work with. So I'm just going to kind of lay out, well, that's cute. It's got little pumpkins. I kind of like the bright colors. I might or might not use these paper strips. Got a couple more things here. Maybe I can make that look like it's going through the back of the picture. Guys, I have no like design idea or anything, no plan at all where I'm going with this right now. This is just me putting stuff on the paper and figuring it out as I go. So this looks just so big. That title is just super giant to me. We'll have to see how it keeps continuing. I am going to even get some of these little embellishments before I'm even worried at all about my watercoloring on the back. I am going to try, like I don't feel like I need to put that there. I'm gonna try to pull some of these other things. I'm not even sure. We didn't have hot cocoa. I'm not even sure if any of these are gonna work. Oh yeah, I think I like some of these things. I haven't looked at this kit in months. I haven't even opened these papers in a really long time. They sell all kinds of little goodies at this pumpkin patch, like pumpkin butter and veggies already picked, or you can pick them yourself. So I feel like some of these things will make sense along with this picture to embellish this up. So I'm just keeping on adding. I kind of like that this title is toning down a little and it's not looking so giant now because I've got, you know, other stuff going around it. Oh, they even sell pie at this place. Farm fresh, that could make sense. The little canning jars. There is a bakery. We'll see how this ends up. I don't need to use all of these. There's quite a bit, so I don't need to use every single one. Oh, this looks really cute. Actually, looks like it matches a little more than this one, although I really liked the blue color that this one brought in. I really did like that blue color. These all look the same size, so I'm trying to do some size variations here. Oof. It's hard to do this a little when everything is moving around because nothing is adhered. It gives me a little, it just makes it a little harder because everything's kind of moving around. And I think I kind of like the way this is coming together now. I can tell that's jam in there. A little jam down there. Okay, so I was able to use a ton of these embellishments down here in ephemera to kind of make a little scene there on my page, which I'm very happy with. So I've got the main layout going, and I want to scoot everything down just a little bit from where it is. So I'm just going to pull down every layer that I've got. Okay, I feel like that's good. And now I've got so much color going. At first I was going to paint these leaves like in all these colors, in all the different colors, you know, on my background. But I think I need to tone this down and keep these leaves fairly monochromatic. And I'm not really even sure what color. I kind of don't want to use orange because I've got a lot of orange going on in here already. Oh man, I could do them in a teal color, but that doesn't look super fall-ish. Let's just scooch this over a little and maybe like a reddish orange and maybe fading into yellow a little. And I'm thinking I want to put some of the leaves coming out from these, like a little bit right here maybe, a little bit down here maybe, and a little bit back in here, kind of this area and this area. So it just kind of keeps your eye in a diagonal across the page. So let's get started on this. And when I'm using paints, I like to mix the colors because, oh my gosh, you guys, we didn't even use any of these, which is fine because I can use these on another layout, all these hexagons. Maybe I'll get one or two going up there. Yeah, I like that. I'll put two up there. And the rest of these I can use on another layout if I need to, because I'm going to show you what I'm going to do with the leftover pieces because there's still a lot of pieces. Okay, let's start playing with these paints. So I think this color right here is a nice dark color, and I'm just going to get it a little wet. And then this yellow I think is a nice color. Apparently there's green on my paintbrush right now that I didn't know about. And I don't want this brush to be very wet when I do this. I'm just slightly coloring, not very wet. And I don't mind that I'm mixing my colors together because this is like my inexpensive paint palette. These are not expensive watercolors. I know there are very expensive watercolors out there that you might want to mix differently than what I'm doing. And then since I do have this scratch pad piece, I can, let's see how this turns out. This might have had too much water on it. It's kind of a lot of water in there. I think I used too much of the dark, but that's why we're testing this out. So when I go back and do this, I think I'm just gonna barely put any dark color in there first, this darker color, and then I'm gonna come behind it with the yellow. So I am gonna go rinse out my brush, rinse off my stencil. I can use this as scratch paper, and then we're just gonna start playing on the layout and get some of this down. And again, I just really like the watercolor paper because it's forgiving when we're doing this, and it can take a lot of water if I was going over and over and over on it, and it won't warp the paper or make the paper pill. So I'm gonna scoot everything off. Actually, I'm gonna come in here with a pencil and really lightly mark where my corners are, just the main corners. Okay, now I'm gonna scoot everything off. And I have a picture so I can remember what I did with it by looking back at my picture. And now I've got some little pencil marks showing me where I'm going to want to do my stencil work. So I'm gonna start just picking up a little bit. You know, I might start this with a regular paintbrush and not a water brush, because this water brush is holding so much water in it. And I'm just gonna give a little, I do want some water, I just don't want so much water. And I'm just gonna do a little bit in here. I'm not covering every full leaf, not coloring every full leaf, because I want to blend this with yellow, like you saw me do over here. And it's okay that some of it is going a little bit behind the stencil. Like, this is going to be really organic and watercolory. I'm just using the stencil so that I don't have to try to draw leaves myself. Okay, and then I'm gonna rinse off this brush, and then I'm gonna turn to the yellow. And I'm gonna kind of mix the colors together where the yellow flows into the orange. And I'm just gonna do this one little section down here on camera for you. And the rest that I do on this layout, I'm gonna go ahead and turn off the video because I know this takes a while and it's literally the same technique over and over again. But let's see how this little bit is looking over here. And honestly, you don't even have to try super hard to be evenly getting colors. So that is how it's gonna look. So it looks very watercolory and organic, and most of this is covered up with embellishments. So I'm gonna do a little more down here. So that this part is showing somewhat. And I just keep adding more water and more color until we get it like we like it. And then you can remove this stencil and find where the pattern repeats, because it does repeat. So we can do this little bit down here. Oop. And I want it to be really yellow down here. And like I said, if you wanted to add blue or a different color into these, you could too. But I am gonna go ahead and go off camera, and I'm gonna do a little more up here and then a little down this part right here, and I will be right back. First of all, I erased some of those little pencil marks that I had put in there, showing me where things were laying out, just in case I don't want them to show. And I think that I'm going to mat this picture on a little piece of white paper, because I like to mat my pictures on white. And I think I'm gonna mat it on white, and I'm gonna ink the edges blue, this color of blue. So let me do that really quick, because I think that will bring in that color blue a little bit more. And I'm going to use Distress Oxide Peacock Feathers to ink the edges there. And that way my white mat will kind of pop a little off the back of the page too. Great. Okay, so now I've got to try to get everything lined up how I had it before I really adhere anything down. I think this might have been a little higher. And then I had some strips of paper down here. These are just branding strips that were left from the papers that I used in this kit. So that's where those strips came from. And I kind of want to get everything laid down before I actually started hearing anything, because I want to make sure that this paint looks nice where I have it, and I don't need to add more. I mean, I can't take any away, but I could add more if I needed to. So let's just see how this is all looking. I'm probably going to cut some of that blue one off at the top a little. We've almost got them all. And of course, if your pictures aren't going to be the same as mine, so if you're replicating this, you could use a variety of different pieces of ephemera in here. Okay. I think I might not like the scarecrow, because it's kind of really busy and it boxes that in. So I might not continue keeping that scarecrow right there. I feel like this is like a very harsh line of painted watercolors. I might need to add a little bit right there. So let's just pull this back in a minute. And I'm not even gonna move everything off my page or try to line anything up. I'm just gonna try to go in here and just get like 1 or 2 more little leaves painted. Gotta add some water back into those. Just a very little bit right here. Just to give it like a little more rounded out, so it's not just a straight line going down. I think I like that better. And I don't want to mess around much more with this, because I don't want to go too crazy. I'm not gonna put those exactly back up right now because it's wet paint still. So from here, I'm going to start adhering all my layers and making everything straight and even. I'm gonna go off camera to get every single layer adhered down because it is going to take a while. And then I probably will pop a few little elements up on foam tape here, like things that are on top. So like this little jar of jam, and in here, this little jar of jam was on top. So I'll probably pop maybe this little thing of cucumbers I'll pop up. So, or zucchini, I can't tell which that is. But I will be right back when I have all these layers adhered down. One quick thing that I want to do here, because it's really sticking out to me and I don't like it, is I'm going to cut the back, like inside of that little booth. I'm going to cut it with an X-Acto knife so that it is, you can see the little background watercoloring right through the center of it. It was just so stark white right there that I don't like the way that looks. So I'm gonna cut the window out of there. And hopefully that will help it not be so stark. Oh yeah, I like that a lot better. I'm actually gonna do the same thing to this one. I can put this back right where I got it. Now we'll see, maybe this little scarecrow might look a little better now because I pulled some of that out and I cut the background out of there. Yeah, I like the scarecrow in there, so I'm gonna add him back in. I just changed up a little bit of the things that were surrounding him on there that was causing like tension. And I think it looks a lot better. So I can leave him in there, which is good because I thought he was cute. I was sad to get rid of him. And then this is almost done. And then you can see that I have this little part of yellow paint right here. I'm gonna try to get that off. Not sure how I'm gonna do that yet. I might just get it wet with water. Since this is watercolor paper, it's really forgiving and you can get it wet. And I might just try to get it wet to get rid of that little yellow stain right there. We'll see what happens. Let me trim the top of this off. I think I need to scoot this over maybe so a little bit more of this blue shows up. Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to do it that way because it looked funny after I trimmed it off when it was underneath the other one. Yeah, I like that. Okay, so to get this bottom thing off, let's see how I can do that. I also have this little eraser. It's Mono Tombow sand eraser, and it's basically like sandpaper. And it kind of just erases the top layer of your paper. And I think that that's actually working great. So that little spot of watercolor ink just came right off of there. Okay, guys, I feel like I need an outline around my page. Oh, I really am not sure if black is what I want, but black is what I'm gonna do. And I do 3 lines so that none of them have to be perfectly straight. And as you can tell when I'm doing this, I don't move my wrist at all. I just drag my arm up and down along the edge of the paper. And it goes fairly straight like that without a little bunch of jaggedy starts and stops, because it can just be one long line. And I want to say that this will be done after this, yes. Of course, I'll add my journaling and things after I take photos, but this layout is done. So I like the way it turned out. I used barely any scraps, guys. This was like literally branding strips and like 2 little scraps of paper and 2 of those, some embellishments, and then the stencil with watercolors and 1 picture. And this page is, I think it's nice and full. So now we've got, I'm gonna move this. I'll put more still photos of that at the end of the video. But I'm gonna show you what I am going to do with the remaining pieces of this kit. Got a lot of things. So we've got still these cut little hexagons, a little bit of the ephemera left, quite a bit actually, a lot of these titles that were in the essentials kit. More titles, these 2 guys. The alphabet, I'm gonna go ahead and put these in here and the ephemera in here. And the stencil, of course. The stencil I am going to put in my stash because that's what I do. After I use a kit up, I put the stencil into my stash. And then the rest of these things, I could probably make another page. I've got a lot of embellishments. I've got some of those hexagons, but I would much rather put this in with another kit that's already in my stash or other supplies that are already in my stash and just give that kit of supplies a little new life. So what I've got here is I had a lot of pieces of this line already in my stash, like the sticker sheet. And I already had another sheet of this paper and another sheet of this paper and another sheet of this paper. You know, I already had almost this whole collection. Got some cuts in there. And I would really love to just, oops, how did that white paper get in there? We don't know. I would love, you know, I've got a lot of this. So what I'm gonna do is, this is already stored together in my stash, and I'm just gonna go ahead and add all of this to it. I think the alphabets match perfectly well. And this ephemera. And then I've got other little pieces with this. I, of course, have the sequin mix that was a la carte with this kit. I have a few of the cuts that were a la carte with this kit. So I'm just gonna throw all of these things in here and just bulk up my kit that I already had in my stash that had a lot of similar items or coordinating items. So this is just all gonna go together and bulk this kit up. Instead of trying to like, I don't even have a place in my stash that I keep just die cuts or just titles, or I do have thicker storage, but I really love the way these thickers look with this kit, so I'm gonna leave them in there. So yeah, now it is bulking up another kit. So when I want to work with this color scheme again, I can. And even if it wouldn't have been these exact papers, maybe there are other papers in my stash that are from another collection that are similar colors to this. I would have stuck them in there with that. But I just happened to already have, you know, all of these together. So that is how I put the kit away, and obviously kill it with the last little bits and pieces to make a layout. So thank you guys for watching. I'll be back in a few hours with my next idea for killing a kit. Thanks guys, bye.